You're listening to the Jan Price Show, all about movies. And today, my guest is the director of programming for the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, Claudia Puig. Welcome to the show, Claudia. It's good to
Hi,
have you here. I know you're crazy right now.
very busy, but I'm happy to be here with you, Jan.
Well, I'm glad you were able to make some time. I know that, yeah, you just announced the schedule yesterday, so very
Right.
exciting. But before we even get into that, I want to get into your background because you've had an amazing career and continue to have a great career. How did you become the director of programming for the Santa Barbara International Film Festival?
Well, I've spent most of my life as a journalist, and I have been a film critic for the last 20 plus years. And around 2015, I left USA Today and had some ideas in mind. I was thinking I wanted to teach college. I wanted to look more into film festivals and programming them because it's kind of a natural fit for a film critic. You know, you're curating films, and that's what you do as a film critic. And you watch a million things, and you go to lots of festivals. So I thought I'd love to get involved in that world. And so my first job as a programming director was at the Napa Valley Film Festival back in 2015.
And I've
And
attended
then,
that many times. I love that.
yeah,
I love that film festival.
it is no more, but it was great when it was.
Yeah.
It's a good one, of course. Who doesn't like to go to Napa? So
Right,
that
right.
was great. And then from there, some people that I met through there brought me up to the Mendocino Film Festival, and they asked if I wanted to be a program director there. And my joke was that I was going to make my way through the wine country, one festival at a time.
Did you go to Sonoma?
Well, I was on the jury for Sonoma this past year, so yeah.
Yes, you did then.
Now I got to move to France and Italy. There's a lot of wine countries.
Really?
That's
It's
like,
a great job. I want to do what you do. Films and drinking. Hey, what
film
can be better?
festival. That's right. Curator only in wine country.
There are
Santa
great
Barbara
wines
has
here
its share.
too. I'm sorry, go ahead. What?
I said Santa Barbara has its share too. So
Yes, it does.
um, anyway, so then from there I went to Mendocino, and then from Mendocino I got a job that was not in wine country in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and then AFI as their senior programmer. So I've just been working in film festivals now for probably like the last 8 years, and it's been really great. I still review movies. I still do an NPR show with some other critics, and up until very recently, I was president of the LA Film Critics Association. So I've kept my hand in all that, but it's very easy to have the two kind of dovetail. And then I've also been teaching off and on. So I kind of remade my career as a person who was just, strictly a journalist. I went from a reporter to a critic, and now I kind of, I do some consulting. I moderate panels and Q and A's. So I'm really enjoying this new phase of my life because it's a lot of fun.
It sounds very exciting. I was going to wonder though, if you do you have time for a life?
I try. Yeah, my husband wonders that sometimes too. I have children who are grown, so that's nice, and we do a lot of traveling. I do kind of make time. That's what's kind of for me just a kind of a perfect existence at this point because I work really hard on the Santa Barbara Film Festival for those 6 months, and then I take a little break. We're going to do some traveling, and then I have another film festival that I work on, which is a women's film festival
Oh,
up in Bellingham, Washington, and it's a much smaller festival. It's just a few days, and then I still am doing Mendocino, and that's in June. But then I kind of have a month where I'm doing a little bit less, and I'm maybe just consulting that month or doing the radio show. So it's a really nice balance. I
it
love it.
sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds great. And following your passion all the way through all of it, that.
All of it is my passion, and I've just learned. I've gotten to the point now after being in the business for a very long time that I just kind of do the things that I really feel strongly about. And travel is also really important to me. And I love to read, and I love to hike and walk. So, we kind of sometimes combine our hikes with travel. Last year, we walked across England on this Hadrian's Wall path.
Mm.
So, I just kind of, it's just kind of trying to, pick out the things that I really enjoy doing.
That's great. That's great. The only way to be living nowadays. If you don't like it, don't do it.
Exactly, right? I mean, there's always things that we don't like that we have to do, like pay
Right.
taxes or,
Yeah,
laws,
exactly.
you
But if you're in a career that you really hate, it's like starting
Oh,
to what's
there's
your
no point.
passion. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you work on this film festival for 6 months. When does that start?
It starts around August, middle of August, and then we go through the festival and we kind of do some wrap up till the end of February. So it's a kind of a 6 month period. The programming team, which is 4 people, including myself, we go to the Toronto Film Festival, which is in early September,
Mhm.
and watch a lot of films. End up, I think I watched about 28 films in a week or something last time. Um, and then, we program some of those films, and then we come back and hit the ground running. We kind of had gotten some starts a couple of weeks before that, and we watch a lot of movies. We have this year, I think we had about 4,000 submissions, and we do have some other screeners that help us out, but it's watching nonstop from morning till night, which makes it hard. I find it challenging because I'm also trying to watch all the things that are up for the Oscars and things I need to review. So it's a lot of time spent looking at a screen. So for my
Yeah.
off time, that's why I like to go walking or read a book or something other than watching things.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
you
You have to get out and do other things.
have to get out in nature. Yes.
When you're watching that many movies, I mean, how many would you on an average day watch if you're starting early in the morning?
Probably 4 or 5. It just
Okay.
depends.
Does your brain get a little boggled as far as, gee, which movie would I be interested to have in the festival? Versus, I mean, how does that all work for you?
It does get boggled, kind of at certain points, not so much that day. You're kind of making notes and noting which you like, and then we have meetings and we'll discuss them and we'll say, oh, we want to watch this one, and then we'll have long discussions. This is, for people who are real, passionate about film, who are, cinephiles. It's a dream job because you're talking about movies all the time. You're talking about
Right.
what you like, what
Right.
you didn't like, and discussing it. This reminds me of this and that, and all 4 of us are those people. So we're of different generations. We come to it from different directions, but that's the one thing we all definitely have in common. So it's very fun. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to not get a little bit, like, especially when they start to have similar titles, which is a problem we had this year. We've had it before where you have 2 films that have exactly the same title,
You're
and
kidding.
no, it's crazy. And then you have to say, oh, that's the documentary versus the narrative, or they have similar titles. This
Wow.
year we have The Edge of Everything and On the Edge, and a Movie Man, and the Movie Life, or things like that, where it's kind of hard to keep them all straight. I wish people worked a little more on titles. That's just my
But how do they know that other people are, submitting movies with similar titles? So
Yeah,
my question,
or just, like sometimes titles are meaningless, like
yes.
the end of everything. What does that mean? Like when someone says like Black Panther, I know exactly what that means. Or someone says Barbie, or even Killers of the Flower Moon. Those are very, very clear cut. But then you get things like As Good as It Gets, or, like vague phrases that don't have anything really to do with the
Right,
content. Yeah.
exactly. So you have 4 people in addition to you? And are they
3 people in
3
addition to.
people in addition to you? So how do you divide? Are there people that we can mention their names? Are there people
Yeah,
that,
absolutely. They're my amazing programming team. So Natalie Gee she's a filmmaker herself. She makes short films, and so she focuses primarily on shorts, but also on Nordic films. That's her real interest. So, but she'll watch everything, and we're all programmers. And then Ernie Quitos focuses specifically on Spanish language and Latino films, but he will also watch all kinds of stuff. And he works many film festivals. Natalie works at least one other film festival in the Hamptons. We're all in different parts of the country. She's in Brooklyn, and Ernie is in Phoenix. I'm in Los Angeles, and then Stuart is in Santa Barbara. He's the 4th person, Stuart Short,
I
and
know that. I
you know,
didn't realize he was one of your programmers. I like Steve.
yes,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
great. He's,
yeah.
fairly recently out of college, and he's much younger than the rest of us, but just very, very wise, very knowledgeable about film. And so it's great also, between four of us, we pretty much span, from young to senior citizen. So, so we kind of cover all the different generations. We have, I guess I should say it this way: we have Gen X, we have uh, Gen Y, Gen Z, whatever this new one is, and Boomer.
Millennial.
So millennial, we have it all. So I think that really is helpful because sometimes things are generational, and
Yeah.
people can give a different perspective. And two of us are Latino. I am, and Ernie is. Natalie's Australian and British, and Stuart is, American. So that's the other thing that we bring to it. There's some diversity just within our small ranks.
So so you kind of denoted how each one kind of watched different movies, but do you watch how do you narrow it down? Then do you all kind of somehow, I mean, do you all watch the same movies or
Yeah,
you do?
sometimes we do.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we will all watch different movies, and then based on the movies that we think are worthy, we will say, okay, I'd like at least one other person to watch this.
Okay.
And and sometimes I'll assign certain films. I think this sounds like this might be, a Nordic film that would be up your alley. Natalie would give it a watch, and then she'll come back and say, yeah, I thought it was good. You want to watch it? And then I'll watch it. Or she might come back and say, no, I don't think it's for us. And so then I won't watch it. So we do a lot of discussing, and we get a lot of, we try to get, consensus. And sometimes we'll have two people that feel differently. So we'll call it a third person, like, let's say I liked something, Natalie didn't like something, and then Ernie will be our decider kind of. And then sometimes we've gone to the fourth person and said, we're still not sure, and have the fourth person watch it. So it's a process, and it's like I said, it's a lot of fun, because we do spend a lot of time discussing, and we're generally on the same page. I think we all, there's nothing that we've ever been where someone loves something, someone else hates something. That just doesn't happen.
How did you choose the team?
I didn't actually choose the team. Roger, who is the head of the festival, Roger Durling, chose the team, and they're exactly the team I would have chosen. So I feel super lucky because if I, had the world to choose from, these would be the three people I would choose.
Wow.
And I think Ernie might have been a screener for the festival before. Stuart was an intern. Natalie approached him and sent him a letter. And then I've been doing this for so long, he just kind of knew of me, and somebody recommended that he reach out to me. So we all, again, came to it, from different paths. But yeah, it was Roger's wisdom.
And he does have a lot of wisdom. Maybe you can answer this question. Everybody's asked every single year. I've been coming to this film festival since 2009.
Oh, wow.
And this is my favorite festival of all of them. And I have gone to Sundance and Toronto and Cannes and, as we said, Napa and other ones too, New York. But this has always been my favorite. And one of the reasons I love it are the tributes. I just love the tributes as well as the films. But everybody always asks, how does he know who to give, a tribute to? I mean, and he seems to get them early, obviously. And also all the films they show throughout the Oscar season, as you're just
Right.
discussing
Cinema
too.
Society.
Yes.
Well, if you're in the business, you know those things because
Right.
this conversation starts early. I know he attends Telluride. I attend Toronto. Then I've been to Cannes too, but none of us attended this nowadays. But the conversation starts sometimes right after Cannes, but it starts in earnest around the time of Telluride in Toronto, and that's when you start hearing about the awards buzz. And so I think he's got a really good eye. He's been doing it for a long time. I also do that kind of thing on my NPR show. We predict things, and I do it on Gold Derby. Once you've been doing it long enough, you can kind of tell who is going to be in the Oscar conversation. Sometimes they're people you really wish would be, and for one reason or another, they're not. Or sometimes it starts too early. Something that was amazing. Like I saw a couple of movies in the spring that I really wish were in the Oscar conversation, but they, because they came out too
Really.
early. And then sometimes, this summer was different because it was the summer of Barbenheimer, but um, often usually it's the fall movies that rise to the top. But
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so that's that process. And yeah, I think our festival's a little different because of the tributes. I mean, Palm Springs does that a little bit, and Napa used to do that to some degree, but it wasn't really Oscar related. And I think that does make our festival um, fairly unique.
Yeah.
And in terms of local festivals, since I've come on, we've really made it an effort to have primarily premieres, so that they're films that people won't, have not seen anywhere in this country and sometimes in the world. Our opening and closing movies are world premieres. And we draw from lots of different countries this year. We have 77 premieres, U.S. premieres, and then 45 world premieres, and that's from 48 different countries. So we'll hear about, like, oh, this movie did really well at Locarno. This movie did really well at um, a smaller festival, but a substantial festival in another part of the world, Italian Black Nights, or New York, or the Hamptons, or so we'll kind of hear about that. But we tend to look a little bit more at the global festivals, not the other U.S. festivals, because we want to be a U.S. premiere.
Yeah, and it seems like since you've been doing the programming, it has expanded more of an international feel to this festival. Would that be a correct assumption to say? Because I have felt that in other people that attend feel like you have more representation of many more countries than
We're
perhaps.
certainly trying for that. That is one of my goals, to have more representation from different countries, to have more representation, just a wider breadth of representation, more women filmmakers, more people of color, more LGBTQ, more disabled, crossing all of that, being more inclusive in general. And, countries that we don't know. This year we have a movie from Burkina Faso. I don't think we've ever had that before. So yeah, and a filmmaker from Bahrain. And, just, of course, we've always had Italian movies and French movies and Spanish movies, but I think it's great to really expand. And the more everyone is exposed to stories that come from all over the world, the more it breeds understanding and compassion and all of that. Roger Ebert famously called movies empathy machines, and I just think that's so true. The more we can do that, the better it is for all of us.
I agree. Film can help heal people,
Absolutely. It
start
can enlighten,
conversations.
educate, heal, bridge gaps.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Start new conversations you might not have had before and open your eyes. Well, speaking of that, let's talk about your opening night film that you're going to be premiering. It looks I mean, so a friend sent
I
me and said,
love this
we
movie
have to
so
go to
much.
this. I said, well, of course we're going to go to it.
Yes, you have to. I'm so
But
thrilled about this movie.
yes.
It's one of those rare movies that the minute I saw it, I didn't even ask anybody else to watch it. I'm like, we got to get this movie. It's so great. It's a story that I wasn't familiar with, but a lot of people who are maybe more on social media than I might be. But so it's about this young guy, and Anthony Madu, and he was 12 years old, and he just decided that he wanted to be a ballet dancer. He's living in Nigeria, in Lagos, Nigeria, where there isn't really ballet to speak of, and living, a hard scrabble life on the streets of, not the streets. I mean, he had a family, but he was, it was not an area that would know a lot about other forms of dance, and he kind of taught himself to dance, and then he filmed it. It went viral. I mean, clearly it had so much native talent, and I don't know how many thousands of people might have seen that viral video, but certainly this very prestigious ballet school in England, in London, saw it, and then they invited him on scholarship to come. And so the documentary follows all of this, and follows, he'd barely been outside of Lagos, and then suddenly he's, thrust in this completely different world, and very, sort of couldn't be more different from how he was living in England. And then this very rarefied school that is, pressured and all of that. And we follow, and it's so many interesting things happen to him while there. And I don't want to give too much of it away because it's just, it has to be seen. But ultimately, it is so uplifting and wonderful, and it's such a fascinating journey. One of the filmmakers is Nigerian, and you know his kind of search for belonging and kind of where he fits and how his family deals with it and the love that his family has for him and he for them. All of this is just so moving. I just feel like it's, and I feel so fortunate that we got the world premiere because I think, you know, any other festival would have like snatched it up and it just worked out well for us. So I can't wait to share this film and have other people see it.
I can't wait to see it either. I'm very excited about it, very much so. And I think there's already, as I said, buzz out there.
Oh, great.
When
I'm
you
so
announced it
glad.
yesterday. No, I had a couple of friends, email me and go, we got it, I mean, definitely there were people like super excited. We were talking yesterday, I was hiking in the morning and we were talking about that the slate was going to be announced and so everybody was patient, really excited to hear what kinds of films you are going to be showing this year. Let's talk about the closing night film because it's also looks very interesting too.
It's really fun. It's very different from that, but it's more in kind of a rom-com, but also kind of a coming into yourself kind of movie. If that's not a genre, but Heather Graham stars and Heather Graham directs, and it's her first time directing. And Julia Stiles is also in it, Thomas Lennon, Michael Gross from Family Ties way back. And she's kind of at a crossroads in her life. She's a yoga teacher. She has this crazy family that she's, close to, but they're also, it's, well, you'll see. They're just a crazy family. And then she's, a dating life that isn't quite going well. She's always kind of trying to fix everybody else's lives. Her life is in a unusual, well, it's just, this is the way her life is going. And it just kind of follows her experiences. It's funny. It's also, occasionally touching, but mostly funny. It's a lot of fun. She does a great job with her first film, and yeah, I think it'll be a really enjoyable for people. It's definitely relatable.
Well, great to always close the festival with a fun film.
Yes, yes, definitely.
A fun, walking out in a good place, laughing and feeling
Yeah,
good.
you don't want to be, I mean, we have a lot of films that are important and darker and, deal with some, generational trauma or war, as films do, and they're wonderful. But I don't think we want to end on that note. So.
No. We want to, everybody wants to end on a happy, uplifting note, I'm sure.
Right,
we all do anyhow, just in
starting
life.
on an uplifting note and ending on a relatable, fun note. So.
Yes, yes. So what, is there a particular movie or two or three that you might say, hey, you really need to go see this film if you were going to give some tips to the movie-going public for the film festival?
Yeah, well, we have so many, we for people say you love the outdoors. We have an amazing film about, we have a lot of, nature films. We have a film called Alien Contact that's about manta rays, and you see them in a whole different way. They're beautifully shot. It's kind of like a David Attenborough kind of, nature documentary. And then we have another film about the redwoods called oh my god, I'm blanking out the name. Giants. I'll get back to it.
Okay.
Giants Rising. Sorry. And that, it's about, again, the history of the redwoods, which is fascinating. Then we have, if you like more, like if you like documentaries that are about substantive issues, we have God and Country, which is sort of about the state we're in our country right now and how religion has kind of been a part of politics or become a part of politics.
That sounds fascinating.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple that are sort of politically oriented that way. There's another one called Running for the Mountains that is about the political situation that was happening in West Virginia, made by two women who were right there on the ground. The Fight for Black Lives. It's about how the medical care for Black people, particularly Black women, is substandard compared to how what white women experience. We have documentaries about film. We refer to them internally as films on film, because of course we're all very interested in that. So there's one about a man who builds his own theater in Canada. There is another theater that is built in Finland in sort of the kind of a foresty area. There is a Norwegian film director who it's his very last film. He is going through Alzheimer's. We have a few about aging and dealing with all of that. We have a film about the use of kelp in farming and how that's been rising. We have a film about this amazing Ukrainian restaurant in New York. We have, what about wine, growing wine?
Oh, well, there we go back to the wine theme again.
Let's have a wine or something.
Claudia, I could talk to you some more, but unfortunately our time is up. But everybody, if go get your tickets to the Santa Barbara International Film Festival.
Please do. Yeah.
Just wet your whistle just a little bit on this. Get you excited about it. It's a great festival. If you've never been to it, definitely make the trip to come to Santa Barbara. It's a beautiful place to be. But the film festival, as I said, it's the easiest film festival to get around than any film festival I've ever attended.
Absolutely right. That is so true. I've been to film festivals I always say from A to Z, from Ashland to Zurich. And ours is so easy. It's just up and down State Street.
Up and down the State Street. You get your exercise. You don't have to get in the car and drive around. You don't have to stand in the snow waiting for a bus.
Right. Or get a little bus and go from someplace in the snow. Yeah. No, it's so easy.
It is. It's a great festival. It really is. And Claudia, you doing a wonderful job programming the festival. So thank you so much for making the time today. I really appreciate it.
For taking the time for us. I appreciate it. And come by and say hello.
I will definitely do that. I can't wait. All right. Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.